Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, SHR Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. But for those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SHR Radio.
Hack dude. Hack dude.
Radio.
Hack dude. Hack dude.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Wait. What?
I have
What?
come here to chew bubble gum
Oh, okay.
and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
I feel better. Had you going there for a second. Come on! You know I did. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. The best late-night conservatarian talk show in the land. Right here, live and direct from the SHR, the sumptuous and palatial, look around, SHR Media Studios. You got a belly up to the bar, we've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back. Kelly is going to be your bartendress tonight. She pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is in fact lighted to my left, your right, indicating that you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com. You can watch the show live, simulcasting on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel starting next Tuesday. I will also be simulcasting on Big Sarge's Redcon 1 network. So you can watch, listen on those two, the SHR Media Network Facebook page, YouTube channel, and also Redcon 1 Media Network. Be there. We don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred, the speech is free, but the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Tonight, in the saloon, in hour one, we're going to have the Bloviating Zeppelin's East Coast political goddess live right here. Not in the studio, but I'm going to call her on the doggone phone. I haven't heard from her for a while, and like I indicated in chat, I'm going to go up to the top of the chat room, and you can see what I said. I'm going to try to see if perhaps I can coax some information out of KARI Baxter Donovan. I don't know. I haven't talked to her about this at all. I'm going to see if she's going to be interested in talking about one of the biggest consternation points in her life in the past couple of months. She's had a hell of a ride. And I don't necessarily mean in a good way, in a very concerning way. Physically, she's fine. Don't worry. But if you've been reading her on Facebook or on Twitter, you know that she's had some issues with various websites, social media, etc. And if she's willing to talk about it tonight, I'd like to have her go into some detail about that. And basically it has to do with citizen journalism, which is what she is. And then, of course, as per normal, when we get her on the air, I like to have her address all sorts of various other issues, the topics of the day. Boy, have I got a lot of stuff lined up. If you look at the top. Oh, by the way, today is, of course, Thursday, February 21st. The year of our Lord, 2019, 21st. Oh, my God, February. You ever try to pronounce that word? It either comes out February, F-E-B-B-A-W-A-R-Y, February, or if you try to pronounce it the way it's written, February, that doesn't really roll off the tongue very easily, okay, so tell you what, we're going to see if we can bring her up here in a little bit and see if she's going to be around. And the second hour, I'm going to have happy stories and good times. And I'm also going to have an in-depth investigation. I'm going to pull back a little bit and take you through the journey that apparently Jussie Smollett has willingly decided that he's going to take, and give you a lot of information that other people haven't given you to date. Also with lots of audio clips as well, so that you are fully engaged. You are a fully educated consumer of news, as is citizen journalist KARI Baxter Donovan. KARI Baxter Donovan, do I have you on the air, madame?
You do. Hello. How are you?
Great. Outstanding. And see, once again, this proves that you are now officially radio savvy in BZ's eyes. And I got to tell you why. Because
Why?
Because people who haven't been interviewed before, and you've been interviewed at tons of times, not just on this show, but on other shows as well. And you did what the radio-savvy individual who's being interviewed does. When the phone rings and you pick it up and you hear things in the background and you hear your intro, you don't automatically say, hello? Oh, by the way, my dog just farted. No, you wait until the introduction occurs, and then you pick it up and you take the ball and you run with it. So that's why you are.
I love that part.
You are radio savvy, and trust me when I tell you I appreciate that part very much.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I tell people all the time, like when I'm working with them on a project or doing anything at all, I always
Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
tell them. I always give them a warning. I will pick the ball up and start running off in a direction if you don't tell me to stop or give me some parameters.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you appreciate that about me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you're very welcome. And what you said is true. Now, at the top of the scrolling, folks, if you want to listen to the show or you want to be in the chat room, go to shrmedia.com because there are 3 chat rooms that I'm aware of that you can be in. You can be in the YouTube chat room. You can be in the Facebook chat room for SHR Media, or you can be in the SHR Media chat room at shrmedia.com. And I'm looking at 6 screens in front of me right now, and I don't have the ability. I'm insufficiently facile to go to like 3 chat rooms at once. So I am in the shrmedia.com chat room if you folks want to be there. And so that's why I say hi to Mike, hi to Mary Brockman, and hi to Simone and one viewer, and I appreciate everybody being here. So that having been said, now earlier in that chat room, I said, I kind of promoted the show a little bit, and I said, I'm going to see if maybe I can coax out of KARI Baxter Donovan tonight some of the junk. I could say bullshit. Well, I could, because this is not an FAA-mandated show or monitored show.
All right, well, it's late at night. All the children should be sleeping.
Right, they're all sleeping. And certainly on the East Coast they are, because it's 11:09 on the East Coast. And thanks for being up late once again.
Oh, I love it. Yes, thank you.
But you've gone through some execrable personal crap the past 2 or 3 months. And maybe there's more, but the stuff that I'm aware of has to do with the website, essentially, that you started, you created, the sucker got hijacked. There were charges made left and right. I mean, to my way of thinking, and I wasn't watching all of the social media, but there was a slew of it going back and forth. I mean, as far as I could tell, your life got turned upside down. You were the owner and the co-creator of Populist Media. So,
I still am.
If I go back, if I ask nicely, can you tell folks basically what the hell happened?
What happened? Well, so what happened is I have a tendency to be all about, like, you know, the liberty movement and citizen journalism, and I get real excited about, like, you know, doing all of the work.
Right.
And so that's what I've been doing. You know, I've been doing that on and off for many years now. And when I met Scott, he had said, "Hey, I have all this technical skill, and you have all of this citizen journalism passion, and, you know, writing." I had been, you know, mentored by some great people who gave me some great insight on how to make an article, you know, readable. And hey, how about if you write articles and go out and meet activists and do things like that, and I will do all the technical stuff. And I said, okay, sure. And so he went and he decided to, you know, let's have an LLC. And I'm like, okay, now I know now that it's completely ridiculous that I was so trusting, but that's kind of how I am. And I made some mistakes along the way. So the mistakes that I made were, I had been working on a project with Steve Bannon for promoting his movie Trump at War, and the money that I had made for that, I had deposited into the Populist Media bank accounts. I was under the impression that the bank accounts, that I had partnership with my partner and the bank accounts. Okay, so because my name is on the LLC, I am a partner.
Okay.
I was referred to as a partner. I was told that the bank accounts were, you know, we're partners. My mistake was that I believed the person who was telling me those things, because that wasn't the case. And so when I had the money that I had made, and this was another mistake that I made, I had it deposited into the Populist Media account. And so I was using that money to go and travel to different places and also to buy media equipment.
Okay.
I consider that money to be a loan to the company to buy capital. Okay?
Okay. Objects, property to further Populist Media,
right,
to enable the job to get done.
To get done, and I consider that money to be a loan. He knew that that money was to be a loan as well, okay, because we had discussed it. But somewhere along the line, he decided, no, he needed to have 50% of that money. We got into an argument. he shut the bank accounts down on me, and I went, what? Wait a minute. You can't shut bank accounts down on me because we're partners. Right?
Exactly.
Well, that's where I made the mistake. No, we weren't partners. He had set up the account so that I would have a debit card, but he controlled the debit card.
Okay, so he set himself up as basically the CFO, the financial officer.
Yes, and so he decided that I had, by taking the money and spending it on hotel rooms for CPAC, on things like marketing materials, on things like media equipment, that I had that. Therefore, he decided single-handedly that I had embezzled the money.
Oh, wait. Let me stop you right here. Mm-hmm. He treated you like the federal government treated Donald Trump. Let's see. The FBI and the DOJ said, there's a problem. We think there might be Russian interference in the Trump campaign. So they had a choice. They could either go to the source and inform them, hey, we think you have a problem, or we can screw with you. So instead of telling you or informing you of that, basically he decided to eschew the information, not keep you in on it, and just take it another direction to try to screw you over.
Right. And there are literally texts from me saying, can you tell me about and me dealing with the bank saying, how come I can't get a bank statement? And them saying, you are not on. Basically, what I found out later was you are not on the business resolution at the bank. And I went, what do you mean? Because I trusted him. And see, this is a big mistake, and people need to understand this, that these little scam things are going around, and it's very easy. It's very easy to scam someone like me. So I had written 600 articles for which I never saw one penny. I never saw any money. He has made all of the money that's made on the site is his. He's kept all of it. All of the money that I had deposited in from my other projects with Steve Bannon, he said he wanted half of that. So
big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
He filed a police report on me. I had to drive 4 hours round trip to go and have my rights read to me, and to be interrogated over his claim that I had embezzled money from the company. So then, after a week or so of that going on, and by the way, the woman who I had brought over to train her, I found her from a photo.
Right, the other author that you were telling me about.
Yeah, the one that I had been building up and promoting and helping. Well, she decided, it's her company now. So she's still over there writing. Well, in the meantime, he shut me off the Facebook page, shut me off the website, and put Pepe the Frog on all of my articles, which he's continuing to make money on, which I've not seen one penny from. And he when the case was dropped, the sheriff's department called me and said, hey, we're going to drop it. And I said, yeah, no, really? Oh, gee. Well, there's a surprise, because I have texts going back and forth where he basically filed a false police report on me. I said, he filed a false police report on me because he knew that I hadn't embezzled any money. He just really, 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 really wanted that money. So
it's a civil
after
case.
That, the day... Yeah, he said, you guys are going to have to fight it out in civil. It's a civil case. I said, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. About an hour later, I got a note from his lawyer saying, we want you to sign this letter. We have authority to use your articles for a year. And, by the way, you have to give up all of your rights. I sent back a letter saying, F off, no. And I haven't heard anything back since then. Okay. Nothing.
Now,
it's like he's disappeared off the face of the earth.
The big question is now, when you incorporate as an LLC, the first question that I have, because of my background, blah, blah, and this is what I was thinking as I'm listening to your story, is Did you sign anything? And if you signed something, did you get a copy of what you signed?
No. And see, this is the thing that I know now is, oh, he was having problems with his wife. Oh, there were problems with his company. Oh, he disappeared for 3 months. I didn't even know where he was. Oh, there's this problem. There's that problem. And I was always like, okay, well, I'll just keep, don't worry about it. I'll just keep writing articles. But why can't I see where any of the ad money is? How come I can't see any of those things? And it was just a scam. It was, playing with someone like me who's just focused on the work and getting the work done. So I'm just a walking billboard, like takes advantage of me. I didn't sign anything with him other than he had something where he had said to me, and I had agreed with him that we would split the profits 50-50. Now, like I said, he kept all of the profits 100% and put it into a bank account, and I don't even know what he made because I kept saying, shouldn't I be getting a bank statement? Thinking that I'm a partner in the bank account. No bank statement because you're not on the business resolution is what I found out later. Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense. Just, and it's embarrassing because I trusted him and that was a big mistake. Now, it didn't end up costing me anything other than about 600 articles that I wrote that I never got paid anything for whatsoever, creating a company that other people are using. I don't even know who's using it. And then he says, by the way, you didn't pay me for half of the website, even though I probably have 30 emails and texts saying, how much did you spend so that we can split it, right? It was always, don't worry about it. We'll get around to it next time, whatever. So he says, well, you never paid me, and so therefore the website belongs to me, and I've decided to do this, this, and this with it.
Okay.
Which is really convenient. And I said, okay, fine, then you should pay me for the articles. I mean, you still haven't paid me for the articles. So, any which way you split it up, he's gotten away with everything. And, it's another lesson in these little media websites, unfortunately, are just another scam in our political arena. And, it's annoying, but whatever. I've found numerous other projects to work on now. I have so many other things to do. I don't have time to write articles anyway. And then someone started up another, was it you who said, do you know about this guy? Somebody else started up another media company to give to me. And I said, no, I don't really want a media company right now. Anyway, I'm kind of busy. I have so many other things going on right now. I had 2 or 3 people say, I have a media company, I'll give it to you. So,
Okay.
whatever.
Right.
It doesn't really affect me, but it's annoying and embarrassing. But I have moved on, and I'm working on other really cool stuff.
Okay.
So I don't really care.
Before we get to that, folks, we're talking to KARI Baxter Donovan. She is BZ's official East Coast political goddess since I started the show in January of 2017. My gosh, that's 2 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. Yay.
Yeah.
Look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now, 2 years. I'll tell you what, and I'll make this offer because I've dealt with a lot of this stuff before. If you want to talk to me offline about some things some suggestions, some things that you can do, I'm certainly more than welcome to do that anytime that you would wish.
Awesome. Thank you.
With regard to the offer of the various media sites, my suggestion, and I think I wrote to you about this, my suggestion to you is this. You already have 2 very important elements, 2 very important requisite elements to being a good citizen journalist. And that's how I'm introducing you basically from now on, not just the ECPG, but basically you are a citizen journalist. And I think that's truly what you aspire to, if I'm not mistaken. So,
well, I am, and that's part of the thing is I don't want to be a media celebrity, and I keep sort of getting a lot of pushback because I've had numerous offers from people. I want you to be the face of my media company, or I want to make you a superstar, and that's been going on for me for a long time. But for like literally 20 years, And I'm just not interested in being a media superstar. What I want to do is I want to work in a team, and I want to help promote other people. And I really love the message, yes, of citizen journalism. I believe it is extremely important as far as the liberty makeup of this country. So that's what I'm interested in doing. I don't want to be a media star.
Some folks have already written down a number of things in chat, and I have to agree basically with both of them. Mike John Pasqua asked if you are still on Spreely. I am
still on Spreely.
I just recently, I'm on Spreely. I just signed up for another one called Snippy.com today. The second one, and this...
Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Comment was made by Whiskey Dale, which is the exact same thing that you and I were talking about earlier, which is this: go solo. And I know you like to be collaborative. Right. I recognize that you like to be collaborative and you like to work with a team. However, what I was suggesting to you earlier is that you can easily create a website that will cost you next to nothing. And I can have a ton of suggestions if you're looking for them. And first, make a toehold in the internet to call your own if you don't want to limit yourself just to Facebook. Because you're on Facebook at KARI Baxter Donovan. You're on Twitter at, and I don't remember, it changed. What's your Twitter handle now?
I changed it to Saorosa 1776, SAORSA 1776.
Okay, so you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. My suggestion was create a website. Don't go collaborative just yet, but make that some sort of a news central where people can go to read your articles. I don't think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Facebook is necessarily conducive to articles of journalism. It's more of a social media page, and you can put links to whatever it is that you write. But I think people, when they want to read someone who is a citizen journalist, they want to see immediately the whole story in a much more easily read graphic interface. Let me go back to the point that I was going to make about you, which I think places you way ahead of other citizen journalists. I've told you about one aspect before, and now I'm going to give you kudos for both. Number one, because like George Bush said, my mom likes your stuff. Well, I like your stuff, and I think you write well, and I think you've learned a lot along the way about writing. Obviously, if you're going to be a journalist, you have to be able to write some kind of a cogent sentence and a good paragraph, and you have to know something about syntax. Let me take a brief break here just for a second. I went back to Populist Media, and I started reading after being aware of your situation. I went back to Populist Media and started reading the new articles that are written by the people that are now managing that. And I want to specifically state, not your articles, the articles of the other individuals. They stink.
Right.
They're not written well. To me, it's very obvious that you're gone. So, as a journalist, as someone who, I came out with 2 majors when I was in college. I was an English major and I was a co-communication studies major. So my background is in English. And then, so what did I do? I went and I became a cop. Figure that out.
Right.
But the second thing is that you have going for you, and I suggest highly that you incorporate this into whatever it is that you're doing, because these two things go together. They dovetail wonderfully. You write well, and you're also a very adept photographer, because I've gone to your Facebook page and I've looked at your photographs and I've seen what you do, and I know that you have an eye. You probably even know about the rule of thirds, a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know if you've read any stuff by Ansel Adams and the Grayscale or whatever. It's almost immaterial now in the digital world. You either have an eye for photography or you don't. I submit to you that you have both things, an ability to write and an ability to photograph. To me, that makes two of the most basic, elemental functions of good citizen journalist. You already have those. So you already are equipped, young lady, to go forth and conquer. And I'm going to assume that you've learned a major lesson.
Yes, I've learned a major lesson.
You know, and life is all about major life lessons. Better to learn this now than to learn it 10 years from now or 5 years from now, when you really could have made a serious inroad into journalism in some fashion and then get screwed and dumped.
Right.
But you can you have the tools to go out and really make a niche for yourself. If you don't want to be about you, then let me make a suggestion to you. Mm-hmm. There's a young lady that I know, and I knew from college, named Susan Katz Keating. Susan Katz, K-A-T-Z, Keating, Keating. She is an incredible journalist and has been doing that professionally, getting paid for that for years.
Right.
With her, it's not about her, it's about the story. Check into her name, put it into your favorite search engine, and read some of her stuff.
I have read her stuff. Yeah, I am familiar with her.
Great. It's fabulous stuff. Okay, folks, it's the bottom of the hour here on the left coast. It's 8:30 p.m. Over on the far right coast. It's 11:30. And it's 1759 and 523.725 subparagraph 2 subcluster 4 Bolivian time, because I never did figure out what the hell Bolivian time was all about. I have to tell you that we are talking right now to my East Coast political goddess. That is KARI Baxter Donovan. We're going to take a break, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic conceal carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out KARIGirlGear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the bloviating Zeppelin. It is I, right here from the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios. Go to shrmedia.com where you can listen to the show and also engage in the chat room. Or if you want to watch the show, you can watch it at the SHR Media Network Facebook page or the SHR Media YouTube channel. One thing that I would like to add is that as of Tuesday of next week, I will also be heard on the Redcon 1 Media LLC channel.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
They are out of the East Coast. They're in Philadelphia,
awesome,
where the big old bell is. And I don't know, maybe they'll ring it for me.
Awesome.
Probably they won't, or they could go up and, I don't know, if I transported myself there, I could go up and touch the statue of Rocky or something like that. But no, I won't be able to do that. So anyway, they've got pretty big media. They got a lot of good folks on it. And I was actually solicited to be on their network. I think it's because
that's fantastic.
Well,
I love it.
Yeah, I know.
Yay.
Thank you very much. But I know why. It's because they believe they're a network that believes in diversity, and I completely agree because SHR is very diverse. And so they didn't have any fat old people. So I'm a twofer there. I'm A, fat, and B, ancient. And so that's way, way, way cool. And so I really appreciate being able to fill that gap for Redcon 1.
No.
And so I'm honored to be there, and that's why.
Redcon one, they are getting a good deal. I love it.
I think they are. I think they are.
exciting.
Well, the other
Yeah.
thing, literally, I think the other thing is they didn't really have any late night folks. And again, this is why I appreciate you. Folks, we're talking to KARI Baxter Donovan, who is the Bloviating Zeppelin's East Coast political goddess that I consult with regularity. You've been with me for 2 years now, and I appreciate that.
I love it. Well, I'm always excited to talk to you, and every time I'm just looking at your page thinking, when is he going to invite me back? Because I love talking to you. So it is my honor to be here. And beside that, you're very nice to me, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. That's
What I'd like
awesome.
to do now that we've got kind of the bad stuff out of the way, and it seems like
Yeah.
your future now is you've done it, you've moved on, etc.
Yeah.
I think
I have.
Mike asked in chat and wanted me to ask you. Are you going to go back and write for any other areas or other projects, like maybe big league politics or any other specific site that you've done before?
Probably big league politics. They've always been, they've always been nice to me and said, come back, when you want to.
Okay.
And because, they know that I have this like citizen journalism, I want to go build a movement over here. And so they're always nice to me and let me come back. As a matter of fact, I had used one of my old big league politics articles that I had written on Clarence Henderson. And I had him, I do a number of hours now on Patriot Soapbox. And so I had Clarence Henderson come on Patriot Soapbox, and I read the article that I had written about him for Big League Politics with a video that I had taken and the photographs that I had taken. And I was like, this is citizen journalism, see? Because now I'm interviewing him and I'm introducing him to a new audience. They absolutely loved him, and he was at the White House today. And so they were very excited to have that connection with somebody who was being an honored guest at the White House. And to me, that is the thrill right there of citizen journalism, that I was able to, follow him for a period of time. I know him from politics here in North Carolina, and to bring, a complex depth of information that I have about him, because he and I talk about free market economics a lot, and that's really my wheelhouse. That's my baby. And also in how to engage minority communities with the Republican Party. And so I have all these things that I love to talk about with him. I bring him on to Patriot Soapbox, introduce him to a new crowd. They go crazy. They're just like, wow, he was so awesome. And I really love that. I love being a part of that. I love that I was able to bring something that I am passionate about to people who could appreciate it, and I think that it's an important, the free market economics is very important for people to understand right now, because it's a big part of Trump's platform. So, I'm very political going into 2020. That is important for me, that people know why should we support Trump? Well, I'll go right into this whole, jobs. So the whole thing was just like this beautiful package tied together for me. That's, what I've moved on to do. I'm also doing some communications director for a U.S. Senate race.
Oh, okay.
That's a new thing.
Okay, who is that?
Peggy Hubbard. She's running in Illinois, and she wants to take Dick Durbin's seat. And she asked me to be her communications director, and I'm just like, awesome, yes. Because
cool.
I like her. I liked her before, and she and I can talk about a lot of those issues, so I'm doing that as well. And that also brings me back into the big league politics area. Can I write some articles about her? They said yes. So I'll probably be back over to big league politics again, which, I love them anyway. It's great. It's just,
I think it's a good site. It's a good platform for you.
It is. It's very good. It's just, it's a little bit of, oh, gee, it's not my, my dream of bringing in all activists, because they have real writers there.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to strike out.
Awesome.
Yeah, you wanted to strike out on your own. People get it. You wanted to be the citizen journalist entrepreneur, so to speak. Hey, Mike in chat. Mike in chat asks you. He says, "Hey, ask KARI, what bourbon is she drinking tonight?"
So I have to tell you, listen, I am not drinking any bourbon tonight, but did I have a thrilling experience? I was at the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C. About, 2-3 weeks ago, and I was there to do an event with the Virginia Women for Trump, and blah, 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 blah. I end up at the bar, and I was talking to a man who is the general manager of the Chicago Trump Hotel. Okay. And we're chatting, and he says, "Hey, I'm the new general manager here." And I said, "Awesome. Nice to meet you." And we were talking about the event that was going on, the Virginia Women for Trump. And I was telling him some of the things that I had done and, whatever, my background a little bit. He said, "Well, would you allow me to buy you a drink?" And I said, "Well, of course, absolutely." And he said, "What would you like?" He said, "What would you like? You can have anything you want." And I said, "Are you serious?" Because when I was down here getting coffee this morning, I looked over and I saw that Rip Van Winkle.
Oh, did you do that?
Bourbon.
Did you get some of that?
Yeah, I did. So I didn't know what it was, to tell you the truth. I was just like, I just noticed the label, and there it was. And he said, "Well, I think it might be a little overrated, but sure." And he goes and he puts his hand out, and I'm sorry, I've got something playing here. He says, "Okay," and they bring me a glass. How would you like it? I always have a little rock there, and put a nice cube in, and he was right. It was a little overrated because I'm a bullet drinker, right? And that's what I really like, and I like the Buffalo Trace, and I like the Elijah Rose and things like that. So it was a little overrated, but wasn't that nice of him?
Yes,
That's my story.
it was. Okay, so I think that deserves a what? The ECPG actually deigning to drink bourbon? No? Yeah, it's shocking to think that you would actually lower yourself to drink bourbon. Right. There was another question in the chat room also, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to pose it anyway. You are going to be going to CPAC this year, correct?
I am. I'm leaving on Thursday, yes.
Okay, when does CPAC start and where is it?
So I think it starts on Wednesday officially, but I'm not going until Thursday.
Okay.
I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's in a hotel in Maryland. Is it called the Gaylord? I think it's called the Gaylord. It starts with a G.
Okay.
So I have a hotel room in the Gaylord, which I was whatever the hotel is, I'm pretty sure it's called the Gaylord. Usually, for many years, I've slept in my car or tried to find a cheaper place, down the road, like some little $100, then we was trucking my big cameras around. But this year, I thought, I'm going to get a hotel room in the hotel where the event is taking place.
Nice.
And this is going to be like a vacation to me, right? Because I've always got my cameras and all my stuff.
Right.
And it's, running back and forth, and I'm getting old. So I need a place to, go chill out, have a cup of coffee, park one camera. On my lenses, I've got huge lenses. So
sure.
They are so heavy.
People have told me that I have huge lenses. Not anymore, but they said that about me as well. It sounds to me, KARI Baxter Donovan, BZ's East Coast political goddess, it sounds to me as if the Gaylord might be a little bit more snooty than some of the other places you've been to before.
Well,
a name like the Gaylord, really?
That I've been to.
That's not like Motel 4.
Because I'm always trying to nickel and dime everything when I go on these trips because I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket. And everybody that I'm helping, nobody ever has any money. Nobody ever throws me any money. So I'm always trying to, always paying for these things on my own. And I'm literally there are times when I'm not eating, I parking, I'm running around, moving my car around. Sorry, I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. So this time it's going to be nice. It's just going to be really nice. Okay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there Thursday through Saturday.
Okay, so I expect there to be articles. Well, okay, let me ask you this. If there are going to be articles or posts done about that, and people want to find what you are thinking or writing about CPAC, is there any particular place where you're going to post your articles or updates about CPAC?
So probably Big League Politics.
Okay.
Probably big league politics, yeah.
And also, just to...
I get something good.
A lot of questions have been coming through in chat. Another good question is this, and I think it's a great question. What's your thought, because it's been this long since we've last spoken, what are some of your thoughts or opinions on the Virginia governor thing, the lieutenant governor, Northam, and the AG, all three of those foolish bastards involved in that stuff? And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, no one of those three have stepped down, have they?
Right. Isn't that interesting?
And did you notice also
Howley.
Everybody dropped that crap immediately.
Yeah.
The media won't cover that stuff.
No. There was so much stuff there going on, and Patrick Howley over Big League Politics, he's the one who broke that story, and then it just kept trickling down, right? And so then it was to the point where there were three of them, and isn't it interesting that this, Jussie Smollett thing happens and blows all of those stories, off of the radar.
Yeah.
And if it was a Republican, of course we'd have people in the streets lighting their hair on fire, but because it's Democrats, they're going to get away with it.
Yep.
And what is interesting is, they're going to get away with it. They're not going to be forced to step down. I think that it exposed some infighting there, and I just want to say, good, let them fight with each other, the three of them. But what really that story really showed me was where, and I know some people in Virginia, and I've asked them, where the heck were you guys? If these are the candidates that won, were you even trying to win? If this information was out there, how did you not even turn? And I know people who worked on the Gillespie campaign who said, well, he didn't want to look mean or something. I don't know that they knew specifically about that story, but there was no opposition research that was turned over. And so my question is, and I'm going to be on this bench for a while because I'm furious. This story is just sort of the cornerstone. I don't think that the Republicans try to win at all. And then we're the ones who get screwed. And it really, really frustrates me. And that story, the one in Virginia, it's like God's way of saying, here, let me help you make a point. They weren't even trying to win the Republican Party in Virginia.
It's a perfect storm of, it's late at night, I get to say this. It's a perfect storm of fucktardishness. How can you not want to win? How is it that way too many Republicans are trying to be Democrats? I simply continue I fail to grok the concept of Republicans continuously seeking out approval and wanting to kiss the arse of Democrats and everybody else. It's like, we can't make our own moves.
That's exactly what it is.
It's like,
that's exactly what it is. They all,
we're so afraid.
The people who run the Republican Party, the people who run the GOP, the RNC, those people, they also work for the government. They all work together for the government. They're all in the same mindset. None of them want to piss each other off because they all have to work together and play together. But most of those people who have jobs with the RNC also are connected with other government workers or other civil servants, quote unquote, tax burdens. So really, we want to win. The grassroots is constantly battling with the political structure of the GOP. They don't want to win. None of those people want to win. They don't even try to win. And so, and I've been trying to tell people who are getting on my case about saying things against the GOP, hey, look at Trump had in October, I don't know what he has now because it's even more, but in October he had $106 million for his 2020 campaign. He's not relying on the Republican Party. No one can.
No.
The Republican Party they're not even trying to win. They're not. So when they call me, and they've been calling me for the last 3 days, and I keep telling them, I'm not going to donate not a moment of my time ever again, until you move the needle and say that you want to win some elections. Don't even call me anymore.
No,
until you start proving to me You're going to try to win something.
The Republicans these days are kind of like a bad. They're like a bad Monty Python skit.
Oh my God!
Run away! Run away! They're not
Right.
interested in fighting. They're not interested in fighting. They're interested in compromise and bipartisanship. Anymore, that doesn't win elections. That guarantees nothing more than you tank, period, end of statement.
Right.
Let me ask you another question.
So that's what that story really meant to me. Yeah.
We're seeing the Democrats appear to be doing in 2020 what the Republicans did in 2016, and that's having a massive lineup of individuals, and eventually it'll get weeded out and weeded down. I've heard already a number of, I guess, pie-in-the-sky, cherry-picking kind of things going on. And I believe that what we're seeing is we're seeing Democrats eat Democrats, which is great because I think that's a wonderful lunch or dinner for Democrats. But with that in consideration, and Kamala Harris did her best to stab herself recently, and then her father came out with some things today that were not nice in terms of what he thought his daughter was doing. By the way, folks, you should know that Kamala Harris is Jamaican and Indian. Everyone says that she's 100% black. I respond in a kind way by saying bullshit. But who do you think? For example, let me throw this out. KARI Baxter Donovan, an example. People are saying, "Oh, you know who'd make a great ticket? I think that Joe Biden and Beto O'Rourke would make a great ticket." Who do you see any people in this massive bunch of losers starting to emerge, perchance, as some credible candidates for the Democrats?
Well, I don't think any of them are credible Americans. So, no, but I do think that what we're going to end up seeing is most of them are in it just, to fundraise and try to make a name for themselves. So Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, I don't think they have a chance. I don't think they're credible that way, that they have a chance. But you know what I think is going to end up? It was supposed to be Biden last time, but Hillary wouldn't get out of the race.
Right.
So I do think it's going to be Biden. And I do think the way that they're pushing Beto, like he's the next Obama, I think they're, maybe that's who they end up with.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I
don't know. What do you
I think, let me ask you this, too. We've got about, what do we got? Oh, we got 5 more minutes. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I don't believe, although she's hinted and other people have said, I don't believe Hillary Clinton is going to come back. What do you think?
Well, if you had asked me that like a month ago, I would have said I think she's coming back. But now she's been quiet, and all of these other people are throwing their hat in, and she's not. I don't think she is coming back.
No, I have to admit,
I really think it's settled. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I find very interesting is Bernie Sanders just put his tossed his hat in the ring. But did you notice that Bernie is already a little bit different than he was the first Bernie in 2016? Now everybody knows he's a socialist. But now he's changed his gig. In 2016, Bernie was all about the economics. Bernie was all about the corporations and socialism and getting people in to realize that Wall Street sucked, big cash sucked, capitalism sucked. And now, KARI Baxter Donovan, what's Bernie talking about?
He's talking about Muslims.
Yeah, he's talking about identity politics. He's talking about gays, about the paint jobs on various individuals. This is a new Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, we have to admit, he did pretty damn well in fundraising last time around.
He made a lot of money.
In 2016.
He did, but he made a lot of money for himself. I found this article about how Bernie Sanders had gotten kicked out of a hippie commune for being lazy. Like, well,
you got to work hard at that crap.
Right. I mean, he is out there working very hard for his money now. Doing a lot of political theater, and it's really disgusting, though, to see somebody who's benefited from being an American as much as this lazy beat has, doing the things that are just inflammatory against our American culture and our American heritage. This guy, to me, Bernie Sanders, I'd like to tell him what I think of him. He's pulling out all of the stops to just show, that he could be more radical than anyone else, knowing full well that he's not going to make it past the primary. So he's in it just for the money. Maybe he can buy himself a fourth, beach house or something.
Which is interesting because he eschewed the big, deep pocket contributors, which is why I think really, truly on the Democrat side, they cannot afford, literally, they cannot afford to let a Bernie Sanders through so that he screws up their chance for vast sums of cash and largesse. They can't let him through. They absolutely can't.
No.
Right. Final thought. Let's see, like Kamala Harris, any potential for her? Could she be a new shining individual? And do you think she'll make it through a couple of vetting processes in 2020? I
think that she will for the political theater of it. I don't think any of them. I don't think even Biden. I just saw a poll from North Carolina Civic Law that where Trump is leading in North Carolina, beating 4 Democrats.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I was going to say in North Carolina, right? That's kind of a big deal. We have more independents here in North Carolina than Republicans and Democrats.
I just saw that. It was in your Facebook feed, and it says, a statewide survey of likely voters finds President Donald Trump with leads over 4 of the top Democrat contenders in the 2020 presidential race. That's astounding. That's amazing.
It is amazing for North Carolina because we have been inundated with new leftists. And they cleaned up the last election, and I actually had someone call me who's going to be running for a pretty high office here in North Carolina to get my point of view, and I was like, "You're calling me to get my point of view? What?" And he said, "Kari, you seem to be like you seem to know the most about President Trump. I'm going to bypass the NC GOP right now. They don't even know what they're talking about, and ask you, do you think that Trump is going to turn out the vote?" And he asked me this a couple of weeks ago, and I said, absolutely, Trump's going to turn out the vote in North Carolina. It's going to happen.
Outstanding.
And so then for this poll to come out, he's right. So somehow, somebody thinks I know what I'm talking about. But that's what I see. If Trump can do it in North Carolina, that's kind of, I think, a litmus test for the country.
Okay, so if folks want to read you, you're going to be going back to big league politics, and you're going to be submitting some articles through them in the future.
I will.
Then? Okay. And also tell people where you can be found on social media, so that if they want to follow some of your thoughts and whatnot until you find a new home, where can you be found on social media?
So I am on Spreely, but I have to get over there more. My friends are running that, so I need to get over there a little bit more. I like it. I just have been so busy. But I'm on Patriot Soapbox on from 1 to 3 on most days of the week, and then 3 to 5 on Thursdays. And I was going to ask you to come on my show, but I'll get back to you about that later.
Okay.
And I'm at Sarosa, SAORSA 1776 on Twitter, and Kari Baxter Donovan on Facebook. And I love talking to you. Congratulations on your expansion into new markets.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited for you. That's awesome.
BZ
And
is always expanding.
See, I knew you were going to turn it that way.
Yeah, of course.
I was lucky enough to be on with Ken the other night talking to him. I'm going to see him at CPAC, and I want to get Peggy a ton of interviews. So I'm going to be going up and down Media Row, begging people, please pay attention to what I'm saying here. There's so much activity going on at CPAC, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And then I have some other projects I'll tell you about when they happen.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
There'll be things, exciting things unfolding.
We're going to have to go to a break. Folks, we've been talking to KARI Baxter Donovan, and I want to do this. Let me throw this out there, and you tell me how responsive or interested you may be. When CPAC concludes, I want to have you back because I believe that you'll be a much better informed individual in terms of where the GOP wants to go, wants to be, and what it sees in its future. Would you be interested in coming back and chatting about that, about CPAC?
I would. You know what? I would love to. And if you hadn't asked me to, I will go now and pay attention and listen to the breakouts and see what I can dig up, because otherwise I would have ignored it all. But now I have a reason. Now I have a reason to, and I would love to.
Hell yeah. You bet. Okay, folks, we've been talking to KARI Baxter Donovan, who is the Bloviating Zeppelin's East Coast political goddess. She doesn't let crap get her down. Got kicked in the butt, stood right back up, and said, fine, I'll take it on the chin again. And then, because she is a citizen journalist, she's still going to break out on her own. Great writing, great photography. It's KARI Baxter Donovan. We're going to take a break after this and be right back. Don't go anywhere. SHRmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to It Is I, BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin, Zeppulus, one each. The Zeppmeister sitting in the number uno chair here in the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios, where I'm broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, 2 miles east of the very locus of evil on the entire left coast, nay, possibly the entire nation, the capital, Sacramento, the Capitol building at 10th and L, where common sense screams, dies. There's a death knell of common sense in the Capitol building at 10th and L in Sacramento, Fornicality. And when I leave in less than an hour, about 50 minutes from now, out this door, and I open the door, I'll be able to smell the evil sulfur and brimstone which emanates late at night from that building at 10th and L Street, downtown. And so when I say that I'm in Sacramento, the belly of the beast, whew, I really am in the belly of the beast. Well, folks, I told you that I've got like 28 tabs of stories that I wanted to go over. But before I got there, I also wanted to make sure that I go through some happy stories. And there are some updates here. I'm going to do a couple of updates, which I may place them in this category. You know what? Yeah. Let's just go ahead and do this right now.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's what I consider to be a very happy story. This just came out today, and I was just made aware of it about an hour and a half ago. 2 stories about this particular individual. No, I'm sorry. 2 stories about 2 separate individuals. The first is this story from the Federalist Papers, and the headline is this: AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat socialist from New York, might be in even bigger trouble than Jussie Smollett for her lies about her boyfriend. And you may be thinking, why, what? I don't get that. Millennial socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Stalin, we can throw on that 4th name, just on the end, just because of it. Democrat, of course, from New York. She could be in a little bit more trouble than Jussie Smollett. And when I finish with happy stories, we're going to be going into an in-depth examination of that situation. It was reported by a bunch of media outlets yesterday that AOC helped to funnel, and already this is why this is grand. This is why this is great. As I wrote on Twitter, I think, she's already learning how to get, as the Italians say, as the mafia say, on the East Coast in New York, in the Northeast, she's already learning how to get a beak wet, okay? She's already learning that she helped funnel $6,000 to her boyfriend during the campaign. And today, we've learned that those contributions were quite likely illegal. And if they're not downright criminal, then it's very likely that they're highly unethical. Now, Twitchy, I don't know if you read Twitchy. I do every once in a while, not with any frequency. But I noted this. Twitchy wrote today, remember Luke Thompson? Okay, remember that name. Remember Luke Thompson. He's the guy we told you about last week, whose account was locked by Twitter after he started asking questions about why Representative AOC, why her boyfriend has an official House of Representatives email account. The American media maggots, of course, blew this dude Luke Thompson off, right? Okay. And so did her AOC, because she's a representative. She has a chief of staff named Sakat Chakr. Sakat Chakr, C-H-A-K-R, Chakr. But this guy Thompson, Luke Thompson, who was not apparently satisfied with the excuses that were proffered by AOC's office, he kept digging around, and what he discovered was that a leftist super PAC paid AOC's boyfriend $6,000 during the campaign at a time when the... No, BZ, say this is not true. The campaign was deeply in debt. And this Luke Thompson guy has exposed that information. See, we have two things going on here. A story came out last week which indicated that AOC gave her boyfriend a House of Representatives email account. Now, she, just like Obama, promises transparency and the highest of ethics, to which I respond, okay, ethics are situational as far as millennials are concerned, and Gen Zers, just ask them. And ethics in D.C., remember that the motto of the Washington Post is democracy dies in darkness, but actually the motto should be democracy dies in D.C. On the other hand, we can see that corruption has started early. This is only her second month. This is only AOC's second month in the House, and she's already learned that she can get lots of freebies and give them to her boyfriend. And now she's learning that she can get her beak wet with corruption. And, apparently the Democrats believe in petting their new ones on the head, patting their poo-poos and saying, you know what, start your corruption early. Okay, so a super PAC paid, remember this because I believe this story is going to come back, a super PAC paid AOC's boyfriend $6,000 from the campaign, during that campaign at a time when the campaign was really, really, really deeply in debt. I find that kind of amazing, kind of interesting. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. We are going to do some happy stories, and oddly enough, here's another one. This is, again, remember that AOC is a waitress, right? She comes from working class people. And here's a story from the New York Post saying that AOC is unhappy because people are exposing that she has a new luxury high-rise. Remember, she said that she doesn't have any place to live and times are tough, and now she's getting her beak wet. She's learning about corruption. She's learning about providing an email system to her boyfriend and about getting $6,000 from a super PAC. So the Democrats are starting the corrupt... what is it that Star Wars said? Something like that. Maybe it was Obi-Wan Kenobi that said something similar to, the corruption is deep in that one. And I think that might be true. Here's the story. Representative AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, scolded media outlets for reporting that she lives in a luxury high-rise building in Washington, D.C. around the time that she and other high-profile Democrats appeared on a hit list compiled by a Maryland man arrested for allegedly planning a mass terror attack. She said, journalists are sharing stories about where I live the same day it's shared that myself and others were targeted by a mass shooter. All this paired with amplifying unvetted conspiracy theories. It's reckless, irresponsible, and puts people directly in danger. This isn't a game. That's called doxing. Oh, that's right. Lots of conservative politicians have already been doxed by leftists. Tons of people on the left. Apparently, then it got out because of that she does, in fact. She's not living in a cardboard box anymore because she's a representative from New York City. Here's another story. This is a happy story, and this makes me very happy. And again, it's from New York. Andrew Cuomo blames the Democrats for killing the Amazon headquarters deal. Imagine that. I love it. I love it when leftists skewer the fuck out of leftists themselves. Governor Andrew Cuomo on Thursday blamed fellow Democrats in the state Senate for killing the deal to bring an Amazon headquarters to Queens. And AOC, if you remember, was ever so happy about that. So instead of bringing jobs to New York, she was one of the people that was pushing that Amazon doesn't need to be there. They're evil. They're a large company. They're owned by the richest man in the world, and it doesn't need to be here. And then basically what you had is, here's the sound of 25,000 jobs flying away from New York City. And now they're all gone. He said a small group of politicians put their own narrow political interests above their community. AOC, but he didn't say that. Which poll after poll showed overwhelmingly supported bringing Amazon to Long Island City, the state's economic future, in the best interests of the people of this state. Cuomo said in a statement, the New York State Senate has done tremendous damage. They should be held accountable for this lost economic opportunity. But I have to say, I love that too. Hey, since we're in New York, let's stay here in New York for a while. Here's another article that I love. This is from theblaze.com, and its headline is this. Some New Yorkers aren't happy that $15 minimum wage has increased food prices. As if you didn't see this coming, right? It was apparently impossible to see this coming. New Yorkers and Cuomo and everybody else, they were stunned. Well, yeah, apparently they were stunned to find that when the minimum wage goes up, the prices basically have gone up at every restaurant in New York. Apparently a concept that a lot of people don't understand. Some New Yorkers are displeased with one of the more predictable outcomes of a $15 minimum wage. Restaurants all over the city are raising their prices, according to the New York Post. The city's minimum wage went up to $15 from $13 or $13.50 at the beginning of 2019, boosting the paychecks for numerous lower-wage workers. However, those who rely on restaurants regularly for the daily lunches, they're not happy. It's obnoxious, kind of a slap in the face, a Starbucks patron said. Another increase, and you know what? I'm not going to come back. Restaurants are raising prices just to adjust for the higher salaries they have to pay workers, but they're increasingly worried about discouraging customers with too high prices. I repeat, for those of us who come from the Department of Redundancy Department, apparently leftists are this brain-glazingly stupid where they didn't see this crap coming. Okay, one final happy story, and this really is this is a cool story. Because everybody knows that cops are evil, right? Did you guys hear about the police officer who left a pregnant waitress a $100 tip along with a message written on the receipt? And it goes like this. A police officer in New Jersey left a touching note for a waitress along with a $100 tip after learning she was pregnant with her first child, according to the server's father. Brian Cadigan of Sewell, New Jersey, shared the sweet story on Facebook over the weekend, posting a picture of the officer's receipt, and you can see it if you dig around in your favorite search engine for it, and praising this guy for his generous act. And the guy said, "You always hear about how bad the police are, how they treated you like dirt, how they're on a power trip." Cadigan began his post. "Yeah, I'm sure there are some bad apples out there, but most of them are just doing their jobs, and they deal with the worst of society every day, and they have to keep going back every day and deal with it all over again." Then he went on to praise the police in general for the things that they do that most people will never know about, before sharing the story of his daughter's run-in with the officer who walked into the Lamp Post Diner in Gloucester Township on Friday. And the dad wrote, "My daughter's a waitress at a local diner. She's 7 months pregnant and working still to save as much money as she can," explaining that his daughter attended to the lone pleasant officer who came in alone for lunch. When he was done now, Cadigan, the father of the waitress, said the officer signed the check and left her a $100 tip on a $9 ticket. And the note simply said, "Enjoy your first. You'll never forget it." And the father said, "What a wonderful person to not only leave an extremely generous tip, but a lovely message." And a lovely message it was, indeed. Now we're going to go to a different message. And I suspect I may run the rest of the show off of this. If I don't, I've got tons and tons and tons of stories right in front of me to pick up. But I wanted to make sure that I go into this in depth, so that you have a really good understanding these days of the true nature of altogether way too many people on the left. And basically, it's a sad story about a really sad, young, gay black guy. And it started like this. He felt that he wasn't a sufficient victim for the left, or, well, I don't know, maybe he has been laboring under some serious mental leftist issues, or perhaps even in a more craven context, he was a seeker of hack publicity. Or now it's been recently revealed that there's even more to the story. Well, things began on January 29th, and I saw a story from eonline.com. And it said, star of the Empire TV show, Jussie Smollett, is hospitalized after, this is the article, this is how it was written. Not, he says this happened, but he was hospitalized after a homophobic, racist attack. That's how the story is slanted. Jussie Smollett has been hospitalized in Chicago after an apparent homophobic and racist attack. According to the Chicago Police Department's incident details, a 30-something man was walking when two unknown offenders approached him and gained his attention by yelling out racial and homophobic slurs towards him. Police say the offenders allegedly began to attack the victim with their hands about the face, and they poured an unknown chemical substance onto the victim. At some point during the alleged incident, one of the offenders wrapped a rope around the victim's neck. According to police, the offenders then fled the scene, and the victim was self-transported to Northwestern Hospital. He's in good condition, and area central detectives are investigated. Okay, so that was just enough information to keep it really specious. What it turns out, though, is that the allegation was that it was two Caucasoids wearing MAGA hats saying something similar to, "This is MAGA country," who decided that the unknown substance that they poured on him, it's alleged to be bleach. I guess the figure was maybe they were going to bleach the paint job off of him. I don't know. But those crazy Donald Trump following MAGA hat-wearing Caucasoid assholes were clearly out to attempt to denigrate and kick the butt of some poor gay black guy out at 2 a.m. walking the streets of Chicago after having just gotten a sandwich somewhere. So that's the story. This is MAGA country. TMZ reports the offenders yelled as they fled after the assault. Okay. From the very beginning, this did not, of course, pass the BZ smell test. Okay. you got to ask yourself some questions. There's a guy named Weigert. I think he works for ABC. And this guy who's a journalist in Chicago, he thought that this didn't pass the smell test. So this guy in Chicago who has taken a load of crap for exposing this story began to dig a little deeper because apparently it reeked with him too. So I began to ask myself questions, probably like a bunch of you already did. Why now, if you remember during this, on the 29th, January 29th, it was really, really cold back east. And it was Arctic, basically Arctic conditions in Chicago at 2 a.m. Okay, so why would two Caucasoid mega hat ski mask wearing dudes hang around? And I went to go look at this because you can go on the NOAA website and the weather website and find out the temperature, the recorded temperature at certain hours in certain cities. So I did my due diligence on this. So I asked myself, why are two Caucasoid mega hat ski mask wearing dudes hanging around in the minus 9 degree Chicago temperatures at 2 a.m. in order to hope for any young, gay, black guy to walk by and their kit already having been prepared. They're ready with bleach, they got gloves for thumping and a rope for lynching, right? And so, after that, all the leftists began to weigh in. Here's AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She wrote on Twitter, "There is no such thing as racially charged," referring to the racially charged attack. "This attack was not possibly homophobic. It was a racist and homophobic attack. If you don't like what's happening to our country, then work to change it. It's no one's job to water down or sugarcoat the rise of hate crimes." I'm going to say this throughout the story and for the rest of the half hour while I'm still on the air. You want to find out about the rise of hate crimes? You want to find out the truth about hate crimes? Oh, here's an idea. You might want to find out about hate crime hoaxes, because I discovered there's a repository on the internet of hate crime hoaxes. And if you try to disseminate this, by the way, on Facebook, I discovered, you're going to get 404 forbidden. It's for Facebook says you can't go there. Now, they'll let you have the link, but they'll tell you where there should be a picture. They'll say 404 forbidden. So where do you go if you want to find out about hate crimes and whether they're real or not? All you have to do is go to Fake Hate Crimes, all jumbled together, pushed together, fakehatecrimes.org. I went there. It's the information. It's facts. These are all facts. The stats, the compilations, it's all there. fakehatecrimes.org. fakehatecrimes.org. Don't go anywhere. Come right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the final 25 minutes here at SHR Media, the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios, where I, BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin, am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire East Coast. For the first hour, we had KARI Baxter Donovan, citizen journalist and BZ's East Coast political goddess. I thank her once again for being on in the first hour. And to start the second hour, I had a whole bunch of happy stories. Went through a number of those. I still have a ton more. But I want to talk a little bit about Jussie Smollett. And I hope to get through this because I want you to hear. We just talked about, for example, AOC said, "Oh my God, this is so terrible about Jussie," and then a whole bunch of other celebrities decided that they were going to react and they were going to weigh in to what happened with Jussie Smollett.
Now, the world is shocked and saddened to hear the news of a terrible attack on the actor Jussie Smollett. Yep, he's been hospitalised after what's being called a racially charged assault and battery in Chicago. Now, it is amazing to see everyone come together at this terrible time. Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Zendaya and John Legend are just a few of the many, many people who have shared their support. Now, we'll talk about their reactions more a little later. Now, the incident happened just hours after Jussie landed in Chicago. Just before the attack, he posted this picture of him smiling with the caption, "Mood after spending 7 hours on a plane for a 2-hour flight, but finally landing. All good. Love you all. Good night."
And so I think you get the gist of that, because I'm going to have to move on, so to speak. All the celebrities weighed in and said, yes, we know for a fact this happened because America is nothing more than a racist society. Obama said so. Eric Holder said so. So it must be so. Then a funny thing happened, like that guy Weigel, the journalist in Chicago, began to look into things, and people began to have their own version of what I call the smell test, and not just ancient and decrepit old caucasoid males like me. There's a guy named Joe Budden, and he happened to say something similar to, well, it's a lie.
See you guys later. Enjoy.
He's lying.
And we're 30 minutes in. So do y'all want to get to the shits now, or do you want to? All of it is the shits to me, because I want to talk about the Empire dude.
Okay.
That's
He
nuts
finally
to
made
me.
a statement,
That's
right? Yeah, he did.
Man.
It's an interesting statement.
All right, I'm shutting up then.
Why? Yeah. No, we can't shut up.
I'm insensitive. Y'all talk.
What's the statement? It is.
What statement did he make?
The statement was more saying, I mean, he started with, my body's fine, my soul is stronger, the things that we all wanted to hear for his health, because we all care about how he is doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He then went on to explain that everything that happened in the story is factual, and he's going to make sure that we all know it's factual.
There you go.
Which was a little odd to me.
It's a lie. He's lying.
But yes, his statement was very vague.
I am happy
and he
that
is
he's
addressing the people.
Okay, stop. This is an urban radio show where even early on in the investigation, we got this guy named Joe Budden. Let me see if I can back cue to this. Who said basically
About how he is doing.
Right. Yeah.
He then went on to explain
Said this.
that everything that happened in the story is factual, and he's going to make sure that we all know it's factual, which was a little odd to me.
It's a lie. He's lying.
It's a lie. It's a lie. He's lying. Well, apparently he didn't. That shit didn't pass the smell test to him either. So essentially what happens is that crap basically unravels from there. Breitbart provided a timeline for the whole thing for what they term it was a hate hoax attack. So this all starts on January 29th. So he's hospitalized after an attack described by the Chicago Police Department as a possibly racially charged assault and battery. And TMZ starts the stuff rolling, so to speak. So then Spartacus, I am Spartacus, Senator Cory Booker of Illinois, called for an anti-lynching bill to be passed in Congress because he was referencing specifically Jussie Smollett's claims. So Cory Booker wrote in a tweet, "The vicious attack on actor Jussie Smollett was an attempted modern-day lynching, and I'm glad he's safe. To those in Congress who don't feel the urgency to pass our anti-lynching bill designating lynching as a federal hate crime, I urge you to pay attention." Well, because of Jussie Smollett, right? Okay. Then there was, of course, a presidential hopeful and Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat from California, right here. I'm so happy to have her as a state senator. I'm sure you can believe that. She just simply accepted the Smollett's claims were true. She described the alleged attack as a modern-day lynching. On Twitter, she wrote, "Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery." Now, this is interesting. I've heard information that Jussie Smollett, happens to be her nephew. I have not confirmed this or not. But I find that interesting. This was an attempted, she writes on Twitter, modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. And people, as you can clearly see, are taking this as fact, sheer fact. Just as the Me Too movement took whatever the hell was said, specious or not, remotely credible or not about Kavanaugh, they were all taking that as fact as well. Nancy Pelosi wrote, "The racist, homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is an affront to our humanity. No one should be attacked for who they are or whom they love. I pray that Jussie has a speedy recovery and that justice is served." Remember that. Justice is served. Justice may be served, just not the way Nancy Pelosi thinks. Former Vice President Joe Biden weighed in. He basically cast Smollett's charges as authentic, and he decided he was going to criticize, of course, homophobia and racism. What happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We have to stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor, that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets or in our hearts. We are with you, Jussie. Of course. So January 30th, local law enforcement got hundreds of hours of surveillance footage, and yet they're not finding any evidence to corroborate Smollett's crimes. What do we know about major urban cities? They have cameras every fucking where. Okay, remember what I said. Smell test, right? So Smollett himself, right after this, said that he's pissed off, and he gave an interview to, if I'm not mistaken, ABC News.
Musician and actor Jussie Smollett sat down with me for his first interview since that night in Chicago. Smollett told me how he's doing now.
He's pissed off that this happened.
I'm pissed off. What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks. It's like,
right, righteous indignation. Righteous indignation indeed, Jussie Smollett.
At first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Except, wait, wasn't I talking about the smell test, and things did really start to fall apart? People began to notice that when at first he initially refused to let Chicago PD access his iPhone. And later he acquiesced, but only after having, he did a Hillary. He scrubbed a few things from his phone. He said on the phone itself, smell test, okay? Smell test. Remember that. Right now, about this time, we're talking, I don't know, cat box. Here's a story from Deadline.com. The headline was, Jussie Smollett still hasn't talked to cops again about attacks and developments. Things may be moving towards some sort of formal prosecution. What? Some sort of formal prosecution? Uh-oh. The Chicago PD have yet to have a new sit-down with the Empire actor as more developments now seem to be coming to light. Okay, but wait, okay. You're the victim here, right? Jussie Smollett, right? Why? I have to ask you, because, again, smell test. Why does a victim feel a need to lawyer up? Smell test. Okay, so some people, Weigel and others, began to dig, and obviously not the American media maggots, because this fit their narrative perfectly, because we already know they're agendized, they're political, and they're biased. And some annoying evidence was turned up, and this kind of tended to point to a trend. Here's a headline: Jussie Smollett guilty of giving false info to cops in 2007. For the 5 people left in the United States, there might be a couple more, that still think that Jussie Smollett was beaten by bigoted Trump supporters roaming the streets of Chicago, it turns out there's another reason to be skeptical. He's done that sort of thing before. NBC Philadelphia reported that in 2007, the Empire star pleaded no contest to driving under the influence, driving without a license, and giving false information to law enforcement. I think I'm starting to see a trend. I think I'm starting to see a pattern. Wait, you mean he has a history of doing this? Okay, smell test. Then more things happened. You need to know this, because now the lights, dim as they are, the dim bulbs that leftists are even a couple of lights, maybe low LED illumination, started to go off in their brain. Nancy Pelosi deleted a sympathetic tweet that she had for Jussie Smollett. And then people began to, I don't know, hedge a little bit, right?
Senator, you called the alleged attack on
Here's Senator Cory Booker. Here's the Spartacus
Jussie
response.
Smollett, a modern-day lynching when it happened. Now police sources are telling many networks that Mr. Smollett is under potential investigation for, concocting a story and paying these men. Is it time to revisit what you said about these remarks? What is your feeling on potential hate crimes in general?
Well, the information's still coming out. I'm going to withhold until all the information actually comes out.
That's funny. Did you say that about Kavanaugh?
Out from on-the-record sources. We know in America that bigoted and biased attacks are on the rise in a serious way.
Bullshit alert.
And we actually even know in this country that since 9/11, the majority of the terrorist attacks on our soil have been right-wing terrorist attacks. The majority.
Wrong. You might want to look at attacks on Jews, Cory Booker, but okay, I think I'm done with that. Well, wait a minute. I talked about Cory Booker or Spartacus a little bit earlier, and then I made reference to Kamala Harris, our lovely state of California senator who replaced Barbara Boxer. Thank God, because Kamala Harris is so much better. Didn't she weigh in on that too?
Shep, candidates here are being confronted with questions about whether or not they were too quick to condemn the attackers in the Jussie Smollett case, including Senator Kamala Harris, who needed a minute to think about whether or not she stood by her previous comment that the attack was an attempted modern-day lynching.
Let me run this by you. Why is it that anytime Kamala Harris is on camera, except when she's in chambers somewhere in the Senate, why does she laugh with this fake-ass laugh? Anybody have an answer to that?
Which tweet? What tweet?
About saying that it is a modern-day lynching, that...
Sorry.
Yes, Jussie Smollett.
Okay, so I will say this about that case. I think that the facts are still unfolding,
right?
And I'm very concerned about, obviously.
Yeah, she's concerned. Where was that circumspection with regard to Kavanaugh? Okay, so how cautious were these two massive leftists when the issue of Kavanaugh emerged? Like I said, where was their reflection? Where was their consideration? Where was their circumspection? It basically was non-existent. Okay, so Chicago police now suspect that Smollett paid two acquaintances to stage an attack against him, according to reports from numerous outlets. The two men, who are U.S. citizens of Nigerian descent, were arrested last Wednesday but released from custody Friday. They're reportedly cooperating with investigators, meaning that they are singing like little berries, like little birds singing. Here's the deal, and this is how you knew that Jussie Smollett was lost. He was cast aside. He's in the rapids all by himself, poor guy. When CNN begins to move against you, you know that you're in some serious fecal material. CNN even began to question with a smell test, and they found Jussie Smollett beginning to fail. They wrote, two arrested in connection with attack on Empire star Jussie Smollett were released without charge. Why? Like I said, it's because they sang. Two men who were questioned in connection with the attack, reported by Empire actor Jussie Smollett, have been released without charge, the Chicago police said. So even CNN is jumping in on this. Okay, so what happened? Let me do the translation for you for this, because I speak leftist, and I can do the translations for you, and the translation is this. The Nigerian brothers, they rolled like a Douglas fir in a Northwest river. That's what happened. Only when they knew the meme was bullshit, true utter bullshit, did the American media maggots begin to weigh in. From CBSNews.com, brothers say Jussie Smollett paid them in order to participate in the alleged attack the source says, those two Nigerian brothers got paid by Jussie Smollett. The brothers' attorney, Gloria Schmidt, said, new evidence that was brought to their attention, obviously. I had it. My clients had it. The rope, by the way, Smollett paid them to participate in the alleged attack on January 20th, and that they purchased the rope, which was found around Smollett's neck, at a nearby hardware store. The source said detectives have evidence to corroborate the sale, something the men's attorney alluded to earlier. And then there was page6.com. Now, this is interesting because I make reference to Jussie Smollett being an actor, right? And when actors have a role, what do? They rehearse for their role. So I found this interesting also from page6.com. Jussie Smollett and their pals reportedly rehearsed the alleged attack. Jussie Smollett allegedly promised to pay his two pals $4,000 to stage his racist and homophobic assault, which the trio even rehearsed beforehand, according to a new report. The embattled Empire star paid $3,500 to bodybuilding brothers, I can't even pronounce their names, before they left for Nigeria the day of the January 29th attack, and promised another $500 upon their return to the U.S., sources told CBS Chicago. So late Saturday, Chicago police spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said cops reached out to Smollett's lawyers to arrange a follow-up interview. Because that's what you do if you're the police. If you have new information, you want to talk to somebody else again, and you want to figure out what this guy's status really is. Well, you have to ask yourself, from his angle, from the angle of his attorneys, right around this time, why would Smollett's attorneys allow a follow-up interview to the cops? Smollett could only sink himself even deeper. Smell test. And then another nail, which is provided by TruePundit.com. The headline is, Police, rope wrapped around Smollett's neck was purchased by Smollett. Police sources tell CBS Chicago that the rope wrapped around Smollett's neck was traced back to a purchase made by Smollett himself. Jussie Smollett appears to have picked the wrong location for his hate crime to be caught on video. If we compare his Good Morning America interview to the latest reports about the two Nigerian men who say the actor-singer paid them to stage the assault. And then OANN, One American News Network, then reported on Tuesday the 19th, this past Tuesday, report, Jussie Smollett to face grand jury over alleged hate crime hoax. Actor Jussie Smollett is set to face a grand jury over an alleged hate crime hoax after new developments shifted the direction of the Chicago Police Department's investigation. Now, this is interesting. Brandon Straka, who's the creator of the entire Walk Away movement, and he's been on my radio show before on three prior occasions, he happened to opine, he happens to be a gay white guy out of New York City, and he opined regarding the Jussie Smollett situation.
Now turning investigation in an alleged attack on Empire actor Jussie Smollett upside down.
Chicago police now saying they are no longer considering Jussie Smollett a victim, saying they want to question him again. But before these latest developments, his initial story got more than 100 minutes of network news coverage. So how did the media get this one so wrong? Now, in fairness, we don't have the final outcome from police yet.
Yeah, but we see the way it's starting to move now. Joining us live to react is former Democrat and founder of the Walk Away campaign, Brandon Straka. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
The media, and I guess more liberal parts of the media, love the narrative of this story. The same way they love the narrative of those Covington boys being terrible to that American Indian guy.
They don't love it now.
Yeah. More so than looking at the facts. They love the narrative.
Sure, absolutely. They wanted to believe it. Yeah. They want to believe stories like this. Anything that comes out that they can use to malign anybody who supports the president or the president himself is gold to them.
Perfect. That's exactly true. Thank you, Brandon Straka. Jussie Smollett is and officially now a suspect in a criminal investigation for filing a false police report, which is a felony in the state of Illinois. And none of it met the smell test. I'm going to wrap this up, and I may go a minute or two over because I want you to hear my final audio cut. So to recap, in terms of the smell test. Okay, Smollett has a history of hating Donald Trump and smearing his voters. Police didn't find any video footage of the attack from all the cameras that were in the area. Smollett won't turn over the complete phone records that his manager claims show they were talking when he heard the attack. Police didn't find any white suspects like he described, but rather a pair of Nigerian brothers that are bodybuilding hulks with ties to the show Empire. Police say records show the brothers bought the rope, or Smollett bought the rope that wound up magically around Smollett's neck. Police found a magazine and stamps that may have been used to make an almost certainly fake letter threatening Jussie Smollett. Smollett has lied to the police before. And, of course, Wednesday the 20th, yesterday, Chicago PD said that Smollett is now a suspect in that Class 4 felony regarding his hate crime hoax. I'm going to wrap up the story with this. Today, this occurred. There was a news conference in Chicago, and Eddie Johnson, who is the Chicago chief of police, had what I thought was the most spot-on comments and observation about this entire affair. Take it, Chief of Police Eddie Johnson from Chicago PD. Okay, take it. Go ahead. Come on. There we go.
We are getting some breaking news into the newsroom. Here's the latest.
I know the racial divide that exists here. I know how hard it's been for our city and our nation to come together. And I also know the disparities, and I know the history. This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile? How can an individual who's been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in this city in the face by making these false claims? Bogus police reports cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city.
Absolutely.
Chicago hosts one of the largest pride parades in the world, and we're proud of that as a police department and also as a city.
This guy's starting to get a little choked up.
We do not
This means something
we ever tolerate hate in our city,
very important
whether
to him.
that hate is based on an individual's sexual orientation, race, or anything else. So I'm offended by what's happened, and I'm also angry. I love the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department, warts and all. But this publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve.
Thank you.
To make things worse, the accusations within this phony attack received national attention for weeks. Celebrities, news commentators, and even presidential candidates weighed in on something that was choreographed by an actor. First, Smollett attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and
Did you hear about this? Did you guys hear about the letter that was sent?
political language. When that didn't work, Smollett paid $3,500 to stage this attack and drag Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process. And why? This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked.
Okay, let me stop right there to interject because I did the numbers on this. There are 18 episodes per season in Empire. Jussie Smollett was paid $65,000 per episode. $65,000 times 18 episodes equals $1,170,000. And this was all because Jussie Smollett was sure that he was underpaid.
Now, our city has problems. We know that. We have problems that have affected people from all walks of life, and we know that. But to put the national spotlight on Chicago for something that is both egregious and untrue is simply shameful. I'm also concerned about what this means moving forward for hate crimes. Now, of course, the Chicago Police Department will continue to investigate all reports of these types of incidents with the same amount of vigor that we did with this one. But my concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't happen.
Thank you, Jussie. Really appreciate that one.
Smollett was treated as a victim throughout this investigation until we received evidence that led detectives in another direction. I couldn't be more proud of the unrelenting detective work that went into this investigation, and I couldn't be more proud of every investigator that played a part in it. The detective work that we saw in this case is indicative of the work that our detectives do every day in this city. This case in particular involved hours of video evidence, which when combined with old-fashioned police work, uncovered the truth.
Yep.
These detectives deserve all the credit in the world for carefully analyzing the leads and the evidence for weeks before coming to their conclusion. I'd also like to thank the FBI for their help in this investigation. The FBI's partnership with CPD has been pivotal in this particular case. I only hope that the truth about what happened receives the same amount of attention that the hoax did. I'll continue to pray for this troubled young man who resorted to both drastic and illegal tactics to gain attention. I'll also continue to pray for our city, asking that we can move forward from this and begin to heal.
I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have written it better. I don't think anybody else could have done so. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I got to tell you, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, B-Z-E-P. Also, I've got a blog, bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also by the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company, providing thrust you can trust. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I will be consorting in less than an hour. And thanks again to the first hour's appearance of KARI Baxter Donovan, BZ's East Coast political goddess and a great citizen journalist. Thanks to KARI. Thanks to you for listening tonight. Thanks to you for being in chat. Thanks to everybody for listening in podcast. Have a great weekend. See you next Tuesday. God bless. Take care. Good night.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.